Hello, my absolutely wonderful and gorgeous lovelies. Happy Monday. Happy very, very hot Monday. I about died today. I literally almost died today because I went out and had to go somewhere in my car that has no AC and it's 90 degrees in Florida. I about died. But you know what? Funny thing is that I am freezing in here. My fiance keeps it 70 degrees in this house, and although, yes, it is 90 degrees outside and it feels like 101, he keeps it freezing. It's freezing in this house. I'm not gonna nitpick. What's up? Okay, today we are gonna be doing some more book reviews, and I have very, very interesting picks for you guys today. I flew through them so fast. I got done with 2 in 2 days, and that was not anticipated. But they were just such good reads. I had to keep going. I had to keep going with those. So without further ado, we are going to get to our tea of the week, and then I will bring you guys the book reviews that I have for you this week. Today, it is ginger tea. Ginger tea is probably one of the things that I like the least, but I suck it up and I drink it anyway. Don't ask me why. So getting into our benefits of our ginger tea today, a lot of them have the same properties. I'm noticing a lot of the same teas do very similar things. Like, most of them are an anti-inflammatory. A lot of them help you with your digestion. But there are some that do have unique qualities. This is definitely one. In addition to the anti-inflammatory, in addition to helping you with your digestion, and this one does lower blood sugar and blood pressure as well, so that is something to be aware of. Ginger tea is also responsible for helping with a lot of nausea. Usually if people tell you to drink ginger tea is because you have nausea or you just don't feel good. What a lot of people may not know is that in addition to regular stomach pain, stomach nausea, and the vomiting, it also will help with morning sickness. I saw that it also helps with menstrual cramps, so regular pain relief. And then it also helps with nausea that you can get from chemotherapy, which I thought was a little bit interesting. And then there have been studies that sailors have done. It's not scientifically proven, but this is something a little bit extra. It does help with motion sickness. I will probably bring this with me when me and my fiance go on a cruise so that I can test this out and see if it actually does help or if they're just a load of BS. Because some people be like that. Some people just throw out different things. Oh, it does this, and it doesn't work. That's what I'm here for. So in addition to the benefits of herbal tea, it's been around for a very, very long time. It's a natural herb remedy for the continent of Asia. They've had it around for hundreds of years. It's where we got it from. The benefits of the tea are actually better when it's fresh. So if you're using a fresh ginger root, it's going to be a little more effective than if you're using like what I use, which is just the box of the ginger flavored tea. It does help a little bit more with the symptoms. So if you want a little bit of a stronger result, that is the way to do it. Now we are going to get into the medications that this tea actually affects. Like the one previously, this does have issues with diabetes, any diabetic medication. The only other one that I found that it has an effect on is blood thinners, because it affects your blood sugar and it affects your blood pressure. This particular one, it increases the risk of your bleeding. So if you're on any blood thinners such as aspirin, warfarin, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, and Plavix, any of those medications, any blood thinner medications, if you're going to drink ginger tea, just at least be aware of that it is a risk, increasing your blood flow even more than the medications are already doing, and it's going to increase your bleeding, especially if you get hurt. So without further ado, let us get into my book reviews of the week. I am so excited for these ones. Like I said, I flew through them so fast this week. I was left with nothing to do, which if you guys watched my book haul video, you saw the result of me going through everything. I treated myself for the week, even though I know I shouldn't have, but it's okay. So the first one that I got to this week was not really the program itself, but I did get to the treatment, which is the second book in the series. And let me tell you, I liked it just as much as the first one. The program by Suzanne gives you so many feels, and just the continuing story of Sloane and James in evading what's the so-called program. So at this point, Sloane and James have survived the lies and all the secrets dealing with the program. They've escaped for now. So the stakes are way higher now. If they get captured, the risk is going to be even higher than a regular person who just went through the program and it failed. They know way too much. They can't keep hiding it anymore, which means what usually happens when someone has a secret and they don't know what to do with them. In this case, it's a little bit more severe than just the regular program that they've already gone through. But oh my gosh. When I say this book gave me so much anxiety, about as much as the first one. I am going to say, though, that there was a lot less of the suicidal things. The first one had a lot of it, just as an introduction to everything. This one, I think we only had one circumstance come up that was even remotely like that. For the most part, it was just them. It's very similar to what happens after the Divergent series and the Maze Runner series, where they, escape everything and then they're meeting new people, they're figuring out that there's a program rebellion going on. It's things like that. It's very, very similar to how Maze Runner and Divergent have handled the second book. I love the new characters that they brought in, seeing all the new betrayals, all the new lies, and going through everything. It was just as good as the whole first book. I'll admit I was very, very scared. At the end of the book, of the second book, I was so scared. I was about ready to cry. I was on my seat the whole time I was listening to this because I was listening to the audiobook. At my lunchtime, I just needed a chill moment because I was so stressed out of what was going to happen. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I am itching to read the rest of the series just so I can figure out what happens. We just get different characters putting a new perspective on the story. Instead of Sloane and James, it's a new set. So that is it for the program book. I read through that in a day. That one was very, very, very fast. I just listened to the book straight through on Spotify. I used up all my Spotify hours. Going into the next book that I read after the program, it is Think Twice by Lisa Scottoline. And I originally told you guys that this book in particular was a murder mystery. I was wrong. This isn't a murder mystery. It's more like an impersonation mystery. So Benny Rosado looks exactly like her identical twin, Alice Colony. But the darkness in Alice's soul makes them two very different women, even though they look identical. Or at least that's what Benny believes, until she finds herself buried alive at the hands of her twin. Her sister don't like her very much. Even though your sister helped you out of jail, you decide that you just want to take over her life and live her life instead of just accepting the consequences and moving forward with yours. Tell me how that makes sense. Whatever. So meanwhile, Alice takes over Benny's life, impersonating her at work, and even seducing her boyfriend in order to escape a deadly mess that she has made of her own life. So she leaves her sister the remnants of what happened. But Alice underestimates Benny and the evil that she has unleashed on her twin's physique. Soon, Benny, in her determination to stay alive long enough to exact revenge, must face the twisted truth that she is more like Alice than she ever imagined, and by the novel's second conclusion, Benny finds herself engaged in a war she cannot win, and that's with herself. The play out of this book, I could not stop reading it. I wanted to find out exactly what happened because it also gave me a lot of anxiety. And that is, I am amazed at how many books have given me anxiety this month. It's crazy. It's insane. So many books. Just overwhelming my brain. But this book in particular, we get 3 perspectives. We have Benny's, we have Alice's, and then we also have one of Benny's coworkers who also works at her law firm where she basically is the owner of. It's her partner-to-be. You get all three of those perspectives in the story, and they were played out very beautifully. We had no overlapping drastically going on. There was not really a before and then in this, which I was very thankful because it did not need it. But I did enjoy how everything played out, save for the ending. I did not like the ending of this book. That was the only thing that ruined it for me. I was hoping for something a little more dramatic, if that makes sense, not predictable. Overall, I did enjoy it. I like the rival of the two sisters. It was played out beautifully. We get into Alice's life, we get a little more into Benny's life, and the parents that they never really got to meet. I did enjoy it. Would I probably read it again? Probably not. So I'll see if I want to keep this one or not, considering how thick it is. I don't know if I will or not. But I did enjoy it, and I'm fairly sure that I gave it a 4 to 5 star. I'm not 100% positive. I did forget to mention this earlier, but I did give The Treatment, the second book in the program, the 5 star as well, because it was absolutely wonderful. Into my third book of my book review week. I did not enjoy this book at all, and it was Picture Perfect by Jodi Picoult. I don't have the book anymore because when I did my book haul on Saturday, I actually took the books that I read but didn't like or I'm never going to read with me and traded them out. And this was one of the books I took with me because I just couldn't stand having it anymore. It was an awesome story. It revolves around the life of Cassie. She's a well-known archaeologist in her field. And Alex, he is a well-known and loved actor. He is like the biggest thing. He's like Tom Cruise to the people at the time. They meet in Africa during a movie. Impersonating. No, that's not the word for it. He was playing out the role of an archaeologist. She was supposed to be the consult on if he's doing things right, he needs to do things a certain way, and he was very, very good at impersonating everybody. It actually shocked her a little bit how good he was at playing the role, which she had only taught him once. He's just that quick of a learner. So they go through their childhoods, the marriage that they go through, and then there becomes cycles of hurt, denial, and a lot of different kinds of pain in this. There's a few triggers in there for me that just, I cringed because you just feel for her at the end of this, and you're like, why are you in this situation? You can get out of it. Veiled by the glamour and torn with the fear, and also something that resembles love for him. How can she possibly leave, and how can she possibly stay? That was the gist of the book, was we were going through getting her story and things, and we also have a little bit of Alex's, not much. It's mostly Cassie and a little bit of a police detective view in here, and he does come into play later. I did not enjoy this book because there was so much that I skipped. I went through the whole story in the beginning. I got about halfway, and I just got sick of it. I got sick of all the little details. I know they make the story sometimes, but there was so much before and then, and hopping back and forth the whole book. It got tiring. So I just sucked it. I'm like, you know what? We're done. We're done with that. And I skipped to the end, and you know what? I didn't miss a single damn thing. I went through the whole story until halfway. So I got the gist of the characters. I got a little bit of the background. I just skipped to the end. And you know what? The outcome was pretty much what I thought it was going to be. There was no surprise to it whatsoever. It wasn't much of a story. There wasn't much of a plot line. Like, the romance was a little bit here and there, a little bit of spice, because there were some scenes in there where I was just like, oh, that happened. Okay. They're doing that? Okay. I didn't expect that from her, because she doesn't really have much of that in her books. But moving forward with that, I did not enjoy it. So needless to say, I gave that book a 3, only because it was a good concept and it could have been a really good story. However, it took this much information and condensed it to like this, because there was so much repetition going on, it was not necessary. So many things were repeated. So many things were gone through that we had already figured out. It just was, in my opinion, boring. So that is my view on that book. Jodi Picoult is not... I read one book by her, and I'm scared now because I read the first book that she ever wrote, The Songs of a Humpback Whale, and I loved it. I really, really did. I liked it a little bit of back and forth, and the before and then, because it all played out very well. This one just didn't do it for me, and now I am scared to read the rest of her books, and I have so many of them in my house. I'm scared. I'm scared. I hope they're not all like this. So moving forward, I had to end this on a good note because I had 2 really good ones and then I had a bad one, and I just needed something with comfort, something I knew was going to happen, which brought me to one of my favorite books of all time, Girl, Fire, and Thorns by Carson. This book, oh my, I love it so much. I love this book. I love it. I haven't read the whole series. I've read the first 2 books, but at the same time, I don't care because I love the first one so much. It does everything for me. There's a little bit of everything. There's a little bit of magic. There's a little bit of romance in it. Not a lot, but enough to make it notable. And it's a princess turning herself from this very self-conscious to this freaking badass. It sets place in what I would describe as an Aladdin setting. So it's the desert, the palm tree, the palace, all that going on. I love it so much because it describes the food and the sweets and the smells and just the sand feeling. So Eliza has always felt powerless, useless. Now on her 16th birthday, she has become the secret wife of a handsome and worldly king. A king who needs her to be the chosen one, not a failure of a princess. Hence where the self-consciousness comes into play. And he's not the only one who seeks her. Savage enemies, seething with dark magic, are hunting her. A daring, determined revolutionary thinks that she could save his people. And he looks at her in a way no man has ever looked at her before. Eliza could be everything to those who need her most if the prophecy is fulfilled. If. Catch the if. If she finds the power deep within herself, if she doesn't die young, because most of the chosen do. So you're telling me I gotta go out into a desert and try to save a bunch of people, making sure I don't die? Not just by their hand, and not by someone else's hand, but just because that's the prophecy? Wouldn't want to be a chosen one either, Eliza. Got a bad job. But just how they describe everything, it makes you feel warm. It makes you feel like you're there. I love the fact that she put the recipes for the scones that she eats in here. And Veronica Roth actually did review this book. It's intense, unique, and definitely recommended. That's coming from Veronica Roth. It's a very awesome story. This is one of my favorite stories of all time. For those of you who have not read this, I highly recommend that you do, because it gives you all the feels and you just fall in love with the characters and the surroundings, everything. I absolutely love this. That is all I have for you guys today. Thank you for joining me on this very hot, humid Monday, and I will see you guys next week with another tea of the week and more reviews for you guys. Please like and subscribe for my channel so I can keep bringing you guys more reviews and different content every week. Please be safe out there. I love you, read and drink your teas, and I will see you guys next week. I am gonna go read some more. Bye!